Hi, my name's Tony Rory. I'm the founder and director of Men of Honor and Ladies of Honor. I'm so glad that you're here with us today. I'm going to take you through a transformational process that turns at-risk youth into world changers by using the Men of Honor and Ladies of Honor curriculum. Now, this is a program that's been proven over the last 10 years to transform at-risk kids and even just good kids into world changers for Christ. So all across the nation, we know that fatherlessness is a huge epidemic. They published a statistic that says 46% of young people today woke up without a dad in the home. They say that it's like 78% in urban areas, but it's been our experience it's more like 9 out of 10 young people don't have a dad in the home. And that causes some tremendous statistics to happen as well. So the reason that you're here today and the reason that I'm here today is to talk about how can we change this. You know, it's kind of like the weather. Everybody talks about it, but nobody wants to change it. So what we're going to do today is we're going to change it by training and mentoring the next generation. How do you change the world? Well, you do it one young person at a time. And that's why I'm thankful for you today and your love for young people and how you can make a big difference in their future. The Men of Honor and Ladies of Honor curriculum, we start with the end in mind. Men of Honor display honor, integrity, and character. Ladies of Honor exemplify purity, strong self-image, and a purpose for their lives. We always start with the end in mind. For example, when we designed this curriculum, we actually set in our minds one young man, a man of honor, and one young lady, a lady of honor, and we said if we were to design the ideal man of honor and lady of honor, what attributes would they have? Then we took those attributes and developed this curriculum, and the results have been quite notable. So our purpose statement with Men of Honor and Ladies of Honor is we exist to make passionate followers of Christ by mentoring and training youth, most of which are at risk and fatherless, ages to 11 to 17, in principles of chivalry, honor, integrity, courageous leadership, and moral excellence. We're starting new groups all over the world, in areas like the Philippines and Canada and Honduras, Texas, some areas of Michigan, Belize, Miami, Florida, Jackson, Mississippi, and in your location, just to name a few. Here's some examples of what the groups look like. This is a recent group graduating up in Muskegon, Michigan. There's a next group here in South Africa. So the question is, will this strategy work in my demographic? Is it all one particular type of kid? Well, here's what we found out. This curriculum transcends culture because the characteristic of honor is in all cultures. So young people can grab it and run with it. Now, we started 10 years ago in an inner city school where I was a principal in Dallas, Texas. I had a group of at-risk students, and I had 4 particular boys that were continually in my office in trouble. So what I did is I started working with these 4 young men, mentoring them with some basic principles that a good dad would teach his sons, and a transformation took place in their lives. Suddenly, the worst students on our campus became the best students on our campus. I got permission to take these 4 students and start an after-school mentoring group. That group of 4 turned into 50, then it went to 3 campuses, and now it's a program all around the world. Now, the effects of what we saw were quite notable. We saw almost a 50% reduction in disciplinary incident rates in 1 year. Also, our attendance went up, our test scores went up, and the principal got a big raise. We've seen up to a 58% reduction in disciplinary incident rates on a campus after using this curriculum for 1 year. Our strategy is very simple. We start off with a weekend camp. It goes from a Friday to a Sunday, which I'm going to tell you a little bit more here in a minute, and then immediately take those kids and plug them into an ongoing weekly discipleship or training program that's for 1 hour once a week. And it's very simple. We let them experience something at camp, and then we reinforce those values throughout the 2-year process. What you're looking at now is our process flow map. I know it looks really busy, but I'm going to break it down and make it very simple for you. Now, we start with an at-risk youth, then we'll run them through the 2-year process, and at the end of the 2-year process, we'll come out with a qualified leader, a man of honor, or a lady of honor. Now, just a little bit about this map that you're looking at. What you're seeing there are bases. Think about baseball. What's the goal in baseball? It's to get to the next base. So what we're going to do through this 2-year process is move these world changers from one base to the next until they hit the home run and end up at the last plate. Now, the yellow arrows coming in at the top of the boxes that say input that simply means, what do I need in order to do this step? And then the arrow that comes out from the bottom there is the output saying, what is it that I get if I do that step? So our first box that you see there, it talks about an information meeting or an assembly. This is where we present the idea of men of honor and ladies of honor, perhaps to a student body or a youth group. And what we see out of that is young people begin to make, after they make a decision to be part of men of honor or ladies of honor, they actually begin to make changes in their life before we even teach them anything, because they have their own idea about what it means to be a man of honor. So right off the bat, you're going to see some transformational changes happen just because they made a decision. The next step that we go to is our curriculum meeting. And you'll notice that the men of honor and ladies of honor both use a mirror process. One is very feminine and one is very masculine. But the men of honor uses the men of honor curriculum, and the ladies of honor, they have their own ladies of honor curriculum. And we've also translated this curriculum into Spanish. So the weekly meeting is set up so that one person can effectively mentor or train 40 to 50 young people at one time. Obviously, it'd be ideal if we had a lesser student to teacher ratio, but because of the great need today, it's okay for one guy to grab a large group of young men and go ahead and get started. The first thing that they do when they come to the meeting is they're given our core values that we call the axioms. Once they're given these axioms are set at the beginning and at the end of every meeting. The goal is for those young people to memorize the axioms in order to get their men of honor or their ladies of honor shirt. Now today I'm going to teach you the men of honor axioms. How this works is a leader will stand up and say the first part of the axiom, and then the entire group will shout back in unison the second part of the axiom. For example, the leader would say, "I'm a winner," and then the whole group would shout back, "That's right, I'm a man of honor. I do the right thing because it's the right thing to do. My word is my bond." CHIP, which stands for character, honesty, integrity, perseverance. "If there is no man, I will be the man." Manhood and Christ-likeness are synonymous. Being a male is a matter of birth. Being a man is a matter of choice. There is no greatness outside of God. And then finally we finish off with 1, 2, 3 and a fist pump, yes. That's how we celebrate the axioms. When a young person memorizes those core values, they'll earn the men of honor or the ladies of honor shirt, and this represents a whole new identity for them. It's a whole new change. What we teach them is that we'll be able to identify them as a man of honor or a lady of honor, whether they're wearing their shirt or not. We teach them that being a man of honor is almost synonymous with being a modern day knight, and knights always show chivalry, and that's what a man of honor should also do. The next step is we immediately try to get them somewhere as close to the beginning of the process into a men of honor or a ladies of honor camp. These are done separately. Only the men of honor go to a men of honor camp, only the ladies of honor go to a ladies of honor camp. We start off on a Friday night by taking these young people out, and from the second they get on the bus to the second that they get off, they're involved in some sort of an intentional exercise that makes them think about the decisions that they make and the kind of person they are. Friday night we'll focus on salvation and receiving a new heart, because here's what we found. You can change a lot of things about a young people. You can change their hobbies, you can change their location, you can even change their hair color. But until you impact their hearts, you make no lasting change. So we're going to start right at the heart, and we're going to ask them about the condition of their heart. Then on Saturday morning, we'll start focusing on leadership development for young men. We'll teach them the true definition of manhood. For ladies of honor, it's the true definition of womanhood. We'll do leadership development exercises like high ropes courses. We'll take them down a river. We'll do something adventurous. Then on Saturday night, we'll focus on the Father's blessing. This is one of the most powerful services I've ever been in my life. It's where we impart a father's blessing to a young person. And a lot of these children don't have a dad in their lives. So when they receive their father's blessing, it's just an amazing thing that happens in their life. Then on Sunday morning, we focus on teaching them to be filled with the Holy Spirit so that they go back into their world full of God's power for their lives. Then they plug right back in to that weekly curriculum based meeting. But what the camp is it's a strategic way to wipe the slate clean. So you might have been this way before, you went to the camp, and now it's a whole new beginning, a whole new lease on life. The next step is we get them into that curriculum meeting, learning those weekly lessons that leaders are pouring into them out of our curriculum book, but then we begin to give them books that they take home and actually do at home. Our thought is this: you can give a man a fish and feed him for a day, or you can teach him to fish and feed him for a lifetime. What we want these young people to do is take these books, read books outside of our meeting, and begin a devotional habit that hopefully will carry for the rest of their lives. Readers are leaders. We're influenced two ways: by the people that we meet and by the books that we read. So we want to get more than what we're getting out of just the meeting. We want them at home studying these books. The three books that the students use are the Men of Honor and Ladies of Honor magazine format. And here to tell you a little bit more about that is our very own Handsome Dan.
Men and Ladies of Honor is the premier Christian discipleship material for young people all over the world. It's inspired by the Holy Spirit, and it's done with excellence. Our first new magazine, Module 1, has 3 books of our curriculum wrapped into one low-cost magazine. It's the answer for sending discipleship material to larger audiences here in the U.S. and also around the world. Plus, its attractive new look captures the look that attracts youth. It's packed full of powerful discipleship tools, biblical content, and truth that changes young lives. Plus, there's practical tools, lessons, games, scripture memorization tools, and principles to help youth become world changers for Christ. The Young Men's Magazine tackles really tough topics like bravery, sexual purity, leadership, confidence, self-image, and other issues that young men are dealing with every day. The Ladies of Honor curriculum dives into the top common issues that girls will encounter, like self-image, weight, inner beauty, moral excellence, identity, confidence, leadership, and many other powerful topics.
They will be commissioned in what is a modern-day knighting ceremony. The young ladies also have 3 books that they do for their commissioning as well. But in the picture that you're looking at, you're seeing young men that are taking a knee, and they're receiving their ceremonial daggers, and they're being given a charge for manhood. Most of these young men have never been in a suit jacket before this time. Now, if you were to pan the camera in the other direction, you would see civic leaders, community leaders, school officials, parents, all coming out to celebrate what these young men and these young women have done. And the result is you're building a bridge from your group to the community, and you're going to get a lot more help. The next step after the youth commissioning, as we drop down, is they begin to work on the tenant pins. Now, the tenant pins are kind of like our merit badges, but it has nothing to do with tying ropes or building fires. It has to do with things that are character specific, like courage, leadership, character, compassion, and diligence. For the young men, they'll get bars that they wear on their collar. For the young ladies, they get charm pins that they wear that they'll eventually place on a bracelet at their commissioning. Now, for example, in order to get a character pin, a student has to have 1 or less disciplinary incidents for the entire year. Keep in mind, we're used to having students that are getting 15 or 20 disciplinary incident events. Now they're fighting to get 1. You can imagine what the transformation on a campus would be like. The next one that they might get is their compassion pin. In order to get the compassion pin, they have to do 2 approved service projects. We teach them that their service to others is the measure of their greatness. These tenant pins, as they go through them, actually put building blocks of character into their life and reward them for doing great things, something that's a brand new concept for many of them. The next step is, after they've got their tenant pins, they can go into what's called the honor guard. Now, the honor guard is the top of the top, the best of the best, the elite of the men of honor and the ladies of honor. In order for them to be a part of the honor guard, they have to have all of their tenant pins, they have to have done their partial commissioning, and they have to memorize a very strong creed called the Fellowship of the Unashamed. And I would like for one of our young people now to show you what that looks like. Here's one of our recent honor guard graduates at a large conference saying the Fellowship of the Unashamed.
Whenever we had all the fathers up here, I heard one of the fathers talk about an identity crisis. That one of the fathers, what the fathers come to do is to give their son an identity. Through this program, God gives us an identity. He gives us an identity of who He thinks that we are, who He knows that we are. My identity through Christ is that I am part of the fellowship of the unashamed. The die has been cast, the decision has been made, I have stepped over the line. I won't look back, let up, slow down, back away, or be still. My past has been redeemed, my present makes sense, and my future is secure. I am finished and done with low living, sight walking, small cleaning, smooth knees, colorless dreams, tame visions, mundane talking, cheap giving, and dwarf goals. I no longer need preeminence, positions, promotions, plaudits, or popularity. I don't have to be right, first, tops, recognized, praised, regarded, or rewarded. I now live by faith, lean on His presence, love with patience, live by prayer, and I labor with power. My face is set, my gait is fast, my goal is heaven, my road is narrow, my way is rough, my companions are few, my God is reliable, my mission is clear. I cannot be bought, compromised, detoured, lured away, turned back, deluded, or delayed. I will not flinch in the face of sacrifice, hesitate in the presence of adversity, negotiate at the table of the enemy, ponder at the pool of popularity, or meander in the maze of mediocrity. I will not give up, shut up, let up, or slow up until I have stayed up, stored up, prayed up, paid up, and spoken up for the cause of Christ. I'm a disciple of Jesus Christ. I must go until He comes, give until I drop, preach until all know, and work until He stops me. And when He comes for His own, He will have no problem recognizing me. My banner is clear. I'm part of the fellowship of the unashamed.
Wow, that was powerful, wasn't it? But that's what our honor guard guys look like, and our honor guard ladies, they're just as impressive. Once a student has reached this point in their process, they've seen some huge changes. They know what life is all about. They're walking with purpose. They're beginning to be strong leaders who know what they believe and are very vocal about it. The next step is they'll go to a leaders camp, but this camp is a little bit different than the first one, because now instead of being camp participants, they're actually being the leaders on this camp. And many of the young men or the young ladies will tell us, I like that camp a lot better, where I worked really hard and served. They get more out of it because it's the gift of being able to serve others. Once they've finished with the leaders camp, they're continuing to work in the remaining 6 books and workbooks for a total of 9, and they'll receive their full commissioning. Now, full commissioning for the young men, they receive this large William Wallace sword like you see in the picture, being awarded to them at the Lions Roar Conference this year. Or for the young ladies, they'll receive a shield like you see at this, the Men of Honor and Ladies of Honor Gala. But each year, we gather and celebrate the fact that these young people have made a decision to live a life of honor for a year at our annual award ceremony. Now, you'll either have one at your location or you'll go to a location that's close by to be able to celebrate. But the bottom line is we started out with an at-risk youth at the top of that process flow map. You've worked those young people through that 2-year process, and now at the very end of the process, we have some world changers. We have some qualified leaders. We have men of honor and ladies of honor. So I just want to commend you and congratulate you as you pick up this curriculum, and as you follow this process. Feel free to watch this video over and over until you get it. But the big picture is, keep moving them across the bases, and God will do great things. So I want to commend you for your work in working with the men of honor and ladies of honor. God bless you.